from Spirits of Japan. I have a lot of time on my hands. So I'm rebuilding Kyoto. And as I rebuild Kyoto, I'm going to give you guys tours, so you can at least spend 15 minutes with me once a week to check out some tours, hear some great information in history, and kind of see some stupid stuff I've been doing. This is Kyoto Station. It's taken a while to build this. I'm still working on it. We did Fushimi Inari last week. I'm building my own version of things because, hey, let's face it, Minecraft doesn't have all the detailed little stuff that we need. But for, you know, shits and giggles, let's. I've built like this is East Honganji Temple. It's a block and a half away from the station. Multiple things in between, but I don't have time to build all that stuff, so I just put it right there. There's West Honganji Temple. West Honganji Temple is a 12-minute walk from the station. These two are about 15-minute walk apart. Yes, that's Kyoto Tower. Does it look like Kyoto Tower? I don't know. But that's my version. So if you bear with me, I'd like to take you every week on something different. Now, as we walk through here, right now this is the little town that I've made. Cool little town, huh? Little cafes, little bars. You know, every place has got something different going on. You know, so you look inside. There's, you know, I've decorated each little place with something. You know, funny, huh? And then I am almost done with Kyoto Imperial Palace over there. Today we're going to talk about Nijo. Nijo Castle. Nijo Castle is 275,000 square meters of land. That's about 68 acres. The building in the front here, this flatland castle building, was originally built from 1603 to 1606 early spring. So a little over 2 years to build it. And the way back there used to be a keep, and then the residence and things like that. But the keep burned down in 1750. So of the 5,000 or so castles from 400 AD to 1868, when samurais were, you know, not legal to be a samurai, they outlawed them. There's only 12 original castles. There's a lot of replicas out there, but there's 12 original castles with keeps. I would say this would be the 13th original castle because, yeah, you know, even though it took a while to build, the front part was built in the early 1600s, the back part, the mid 1600s. The castle keep was taken, parts of Fushimi Castle and brought in. That was 1626. And you got to remember, there's a cool story behind it. So I only built the front area, but you can see how massive it is. I've added some cool stuff and a wall. You know, what the hell? It's my imagination. Let's start with Oda Nobunaga, late 1500s. First ruthless son of a bitch to scare the hell out of everybody and kind of unify Japan. He was killed by one of his asshole generals, a guy named Mitsuhide. Another general, Toyotomi, found out about it because he was on battle when all this happened, when Mitsuhide cornered Nobunaga. And then a couple of young boys that were young samurai, one of them by the name of oh God, I forget his name. Shoot. There's a samurai house that I'll write it down on the bottom later. But he was a 15-year-old kid. His little brother was with him. They both all died in this fire. Anywho, that's unimportant. Then Toyotomi took over. And when Toyotomi took over, he kind of entrusted Tokugawa with the east part of Japan. I think it was a plan by Tokugawa to go to the east part of Japan and more or less kind of build up his army over time, because he knew Tokugawa was more of temple guy, reestablishing the culture. Had a guy named Sen no Rikyu that came from China with the tea ceremony and was just handing out money for people to open up tea houses. Had a thing going with Korea. So Tokugawa was biding his time, and he what he did is he went east to Tokyo that way, and he ended up moving slowly back this way. Toyotomi dies and builds castle in Osaka in 1538. Dies in 1598 or 1583. Oh man, I've got so much going on. 15. Anywho, let me get that right. And then dies in 1598, leaving his little son for to be the next guy that takes over. He wasn't a shogun, and neither him or Nobunaga were a shogun. They were called kampachi, which are still imperial regents. Okay, Tokugawa was made shogun, I think, in 1605, and he was like I said, biding his time. He was making his way back towards here, built a castle in Nagoya, built this thing in 1601 to 3, finished it all in 1626. Well, his son did, but he was kind of getting closer and closer. And when Toyotomi was dying in 1598, he brought together Tokugawa and 4 other dudes and called them the Council of Elders and asked them to take care of his son until he reached age so he could take over. And, with Osaka Castle being built in 1583, they had lived there till 1598. They were just going to stay there, and Tokugawa was having none of it. He had a plan. And so he finally attacks Osaka Castle in the winter of 1614 and again in the summer of 1615, securing all of Japan. So this place here, up until 1868, was utilized by the Tokugawa. This was, of course, their mainstay, their main area was in Tokyo, which was Edo at the time, but this was their kind of stronghold here, and then they had rebuilt Osaka Castle after Tokugawa burned it down in 1650. So with that said, outside here, we're outside the moats, and these moats are nothing compared to Osaka Castle's huge, wide, tall, deep moats. And there would be samurai out here. Today, like the Intercontinental Hotel and the other hotels and stuff are across the street here, but that would have been all speakeasies and places, to women and sake and all that, places to bathe. So, you got to think of every castle. Today we say, hey, let's go check out the castle, honey. You didn't do that back in the day. You didn't even come near these places. This was like the castle would be the Black Tower in Lord of the Rings, and around there would be all where the orcs are. You just didn't go there. This area here, the gate doesn't look like the gate because, again, I can't get it right. Not with the Minecraft tools that I have. But this is where they would boil the hot water, and then this would all be a wooden, all the bridges would be wood, and then if you tried to attack, they'd shoot arrows and burn down the bridge. They didn't have internet access, so they didn't know that England was making drawbridges at the time. But there would be little slots in here where they pour down the hot water. Of course, the big-ass doors that are here, these doors, again, my Minecraft tools only gives me this, but these doors are covered in iron also. So we're going to go ahead and go in anyway, since there's nobody here but us. And this area here today is, again, I did not build it to scale, nor did I kind of got almost, so I'll explain it as we go. But none of the castles, you would just walk right in one gate and walk in another. You'd have to walk around like a little bit of a maze. They'd make it confusing for you. But the gate that sits here, and you can Google it, oh my God, that gate is one of the gaudiest gates there is. And I like to call Tokugawa the Liberace of shoguns. He just logoed everything. He was a major narcissist. And the gate there's like 150, or was 150 emblems of his family crest on it. Of course, I can't put those on here, because Minecraft doesn't, have those tools. But when they in 1867, when the Tokugawa surrendered to the imperial army and the emperor, they said, well, we're going to go ahead and change all the logos and put the imperial 16 petal family crest on these things. And oh my God, there's over 6,000 of them throughout the castle on every single crossbeam. And so they didn't have the resources to do that, so they just changed them here. And then when you go through the gate itself, the castle entrance. Again, no tools to make those beautiful, painstakingly beautiful beams that were clamped down underwater and slowly bent to make the beautiful architecture Japan has. This is what I got. So here we are. No, there's no flower garden over there, and there's no pool over there on the original the castle. But it might have been back in the day. The entrance is kind of similar to this. There are wooden stairs going up here. This is where right today they scan your little ticket and then you walk through and take your shoes off. The castle, I've kind of laid it out kind of exactly how you would go through it. There's a multi-purpose room here. There's a back area that you walk through. We'll come back out that area later. But what you had here is you had two audience rooms. One for like his own military, which is in the back part of this place, and then you had 3 rooms here and an audience room for different levels of people. Okay, now this is where all the business was done. Behind this, because like I told you, it's 68 acres, and the back part of this property is another completely different building, and that's where the keep was that burned down. We call it a tenshu by a lightning strike in 1750, and that's where all the everybody lived. And there was a residence, but this is where all the business was done. Hell, there wasn't even a kitchen in this part, and there was a kitchen in the back part, but. And this one was kind of a waiting room for you, like your regular Janes and Joes. And no, all these paintings weren't there. The room's like 5 times bigger than this. It's all tatami mat, and it's all beautiful artistry of tigers, because the room was meant to be intimidating. And Japanese tigers, if you come on my tour, I'll give you a whole spiel about them. About why they look so kind of retarded looking. But I don't have those. I can't make the same room. Okay, so this is what it is. But this first room, you'd probably get some tea and you'd sit and, you never wanted to be called to the castle. So when you were called in here, your regular Joe or Jane, you had to leave your weapon at the door. You sat here, you're surrounded by tigers, and you're like, what the hell? It was either something really, really good or something really, really bad. Second room, if you were just a little bit higher up on the arc, you would this room here in the real Nijo Castle is bonsai trees, and it's really pretty in there. It's really nice. You'd probably get tea and maybe a snack. Then once you get to the back part of the castle in the third room, and you're almost down there to the audition room, actually right here is some beautiful swans, a door painted with swan artistry. And anytime you get a present in Japan, whether it's something that's wrapped in a cloth with birds, it's a bowl with birds on it, something, it means something important. And the top bird, of course, in Japan would be the swan. So once you saw that swan, you know you were coming to the important part. What's cool about Nijo Castle is that the ceiling changes color every time you go to a different area of the castle. So back here, all that would be gold. Maybe I'll put gold. Oh God, see that spider just went up there. I put a gold roof in here. And the floor itself is called the Nightingale floor. It was a ninja security system. The floor did not sit right on they weren't attached to the floor beams. They were kind of separated by metal. That's still there today. So when you walk on the floors, they make this squeaking motion. All these rooms would have nice sliding doors, and if you're utilizing a room, you heat it in the winter. You never heated the hallway, so when you went from room to room, you didn't waste time. So that room there would be for like governors or somebody important, and maybe the first room you got tea, second room you got tea and a sweet. This one you'd probably get a little sake and something to like a little tapas. And then when you was called, you'd walk over here. And there, Tokugawa would be higher than anybody sitting down here on this tatami mats. And then there'd be a little gopher dude there, a little gopher dude here. And there's another tatami mat that he would sit above these guys too. I don't have tatami mats, so that's the best I could do. The one thing I didn't put in here, and this should be a lot bigger, wider, and longer, is there's a bodyguard house room here. And most castles, well, all castles, had secret bodyguard, like ninja bodyguard rooms, where the bodyguards were in there, but you just didn't know where they would pop out. Tokugawa didn't give a damn. He didn't give a damn if you knew. So there's two big doors here with big, bright orange-red tassels telling everybody sitting here that my bodyguard's in there, you better not screw with me. So that would be the first audition room. So you have 3 rooms and then an audition room. Now when you go to the back here, this area would be more for military. And what you'll notice is when you walk through the actual castle is that, bam, the roof changes again, the ceiling changes again. When you walk back here, all of a sudden you get all along the top part of Nijo, when you're walking through these hallways, are different carvings of different things. No two are the same. So it just shows his prominence and his power to have a gold roof with beautiful carvings. But once you get back in the back here on the second audience room, those would go away. The ceiling becomes plain again. There's a nice little room over here, but the audience room, the second audience room, since it's for more like his own people, would be smaller. There would still be a bodyguard room. He would still sit above everybody, but it's smaller and less dramatic. Behind that is the third set of the building, which is his actual residence. Do you think he's going to go to the residence, the back there that's got all of his consorts, their kids, has got his hostages? Because if anybody said, hey, Ieyasu, I'll make sure that if you ever go to war with Bob down the street, I'll be on your side. And Tokugawa said, really, I'm not sure I believe you, so give me a hostage. So you had to give up, never your mother-in-law, because mother-in-laws are the same around the world. But you would give up your mother, your grandmother, a kid, and they could bring their attendants. They're going to live pretty good. But Tokugawa's not going to live with these guys. He's going to stay back here in the back of the castle, and he's going to have his gopher boy go pick his consort or wife, whoever he wants to spend the night with that night. And, of course, there'd be, wouldn't look like beds and stuff like this, but just know that there's 2 rooms back here that he would utilize for his own purposes. And to get all the way back here to this guy, you'd have to go through a shitload of samurai. Now, since I don't get to choose the world that I build the Kyoto in, all this stuff was already here, and it would take me forever to attempt to get rid of this little inland pond here. And Nijo Castle doesn't have a pond, but I'm not taking the time to do that. So there is a back area you would walk around, and the back side of the castle is mostly hallways and multi-purpose rooms. So there would be different, actually there's 4 multi-purpose rooms in the actual castle. Here we have 2 of them. And this is where you would come and maybe write a letter, or if people came, a messenger came in and he couldn't leave for the next day, you'd throw him out a futon, he would sleep here. These rooms were like multi-purpose rooms. And then the back side, there's a couple of banquet rooms. And I've looked at the old plans of this and the new plans. I had one of the people at Nijo goes, no, this wasn't a banquet. Yeah, it was a banquet room. But this, there's a beautiful room back here, all tricked out. It's got beautiful wall paintings, and the bird that's on these wall paintings is the black kite, which is the most prominent and important bird you ever see in Kyoto. So it's absolutely beautiful. You come on my tour, I'm going to explain each of these rooms to you. And then when you walk around the corner, you have the last thing we see are 3, what they call, you'll see the sign when you go into the castle, they're called senior counselor rooms, which is a bunch of bullshit. I know we have a lot of children that go through here, school trips, older people that can be offended. But what these 3 rooms were, and when we go to Nijo on tour with me, because that's what you're going to do when you come to Japan, I'll tell you more about the Taiyu, the Geiko, and the Maiko, and what these rooms were utilized for. So we pop out the back here. There's actually another messenger room, but I can't build it. We're back to that multi-purpose room. Now we're back, made a complete circle, and now we're back at the front. So let me just show you a little bit about my Nijo real quick. Let's go ahead and take off from here. Again, I couldn't decide the world exactly. So what I've done is that's Nijo Castle. It's pretty damn good and pretty close. There's only 1 keep, but I put another keep over there. And in the back here, I put horses, and I put I got my cool horses, and then I have an area down here that you can go underground and picnic. And there's like a private restaurant down there. Just for shits and giggles, to have fun. And then I always wondered, what if you had to really corner this place off? What would you do? So what I did is I built a wall all the way around it, you know, in case it was an attack. And so here's my wall that I ended up building. And this reaches out to the sea. It's got my fire going. It looks like a pretty cool place, doesn't it? And out when we get to the sea here, I went ahead and built another keep, just like the other 2 keeps. How cool is that, huh? There's my other keep. I got another keep over there. I've got lava to keep people out of my mountain there. And then we go back around to the other side here. And I thought, wow, protected a castle, man. I built another keep over here. You know, just for fun. What the hell? So, you know, you can go up into the keep here. Yeah. All the keeps are accessible with this. You can look out and shoot at people. Huh? If you need to get on the very top, you can run up the top here. Oh, yeah, shoot down. So let's go ahead. Since the walking takes forever, let's fly. There we go. And then we'll go ahead and back into Kyoto. And then you see the walls of the castle over here. And I've got the moat down there going all the way around the outside of the castle. Again, I had to build what I had, you know, improvising. Yeah. And so this is the outside. That's the Imperial Palace. We'll talk about that next. But there is your castle. All right. UNESCO World Heritage Site, one of 17 in Kyoto. No, 1928, Emperor Showa actually had his enthronement ceremony here. And which is kind of weird and kind of surprised me because, like I said, inside the building itself on the ceiling is you got another few thousand Tokugawa crest, family crest. So he was actually enthroned under Tokugawa crest. And, you know, there's still relatives of the Tokugawa today still living. So I wonder how they felt about that back in 1928. So there you guys go. We're done. I know it took a while, but that's Kyoto. We are going to do the Imperial Palace. I'm building the Golden Pavilion, the Silver Pavilion, and Nanzenji. We did Fushimi last week. And so a little at a time, we'll walk back here to Kyoto Tower because we're going to go through the station here in a minute because on the other side is my favorite sake bar. Have a little sake. And that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. And please subscribe at nihontamashi.com, and we'll see you soon. Thank you guys very much.